Let's get ready to rumble!
All right, hello and welcome to Netflix versus Cinema, the podcast that has a surprise guest this week that we were not expecting. My name is Tosin. I am your host. I'm based up in the Midlands in a place called Bromsgrove, not that far from Birmingham, in the UK. And joining me, well, actually, I think we have to go. We have to go special guest place of honor this week, and that goes to Shaun Harris, joining us all the way from Bangkok, Thailand.
Hello.
Shaun, are you actually in Bangkok at the moment?
I'm not in Bangkok at the moment. No.
Okay. Where are you now?
I'm actually in Pattaya.
Okay, so you're in Pattaya in Thailand, and you no, don't pull that out. Sorry, I have my daughter with me, and she is essentially destroying the recording. All right, cool. So, Shaun, you said you're in Pattaya, and tell us what you're doing in Thailand.
Okay, well today I went on a snorkeling. I've been on snorkeling all day, so I'm pretty tired. I had a doze, so I got back. I set off about 8 o'clock this morning. Got back about 6 o'clock. Had a doze, and I've woken up, and it's all like there's a big party going on downstairs. So I thought, I know, I might be up this time. So yeah, so I'm sort of up, and everything's still going on down below. So that was, but yeah, I was pretty tired because it was quite exhausting, but it was pretty good. I got some nice shots of fishes and things because I bought one of those cheap sporty cameras with a waterproof thingy. Waterproof. So yeah, so it was all right. So yeah, with this thing. A
bit like a GoPro,
GoPro thing.
Yeah. That's
still got Golf for Thailand water in that one.
No, that's really good, man. That's really good, and I think this is just dedication to you. This because obviously what we do on this show is I haven't introduced anybody else. Joining me as always on the Isle of Wight is Sharon Bollen.
Hello.
So Sharon, what time is it on the Isle of Wight, and what time did you have to get up to sort of get onto this podcast?
Well, I was conscious when we had to come to the podcast, and it is currently about 6:05.
Yeah, so those of us in the UK are just doing this nice and easy. Shaun's the one who's showing dedication, and joining us from London, our London correspondent, who has brought us that PwC bump in the ratings from last week, and it is Holly Nesling.
Hello.
Hello. All right, cool. So what we usually, you will hear a baby demanding to be picked up. Do not worry. We will soldier on regardless. So what usually happens on this show is that we go to the cinema and see a couple of things. We stay at home and we see a couple of things. We rate them all out of 5, and we tell you where do we think our money has been better spent this week. Now, I think I'm not totally up to date with everything on our WhatsApp group, but I would not be surprised to see that if Shaun is such a professional that he's the only one who's actually been to the cinema this week.
Yeah.
Yes. So Shaun goes to Thailand, and this is what happens when Shaun goes on holiday. Shaun goes on holiday, and it's almost an immediate win for Netflix and Friends because you might hear in the background some of us have other responsibilities now, or just can't quite make it to the cinema. So am I right? Because I know, Holly, you haven't made it to the cinema this week. Sharon, how about you?
No, I haven't made it to the cinema this week.
Yeah. I kind of thought that might be the case. Not that there's that much out there, but I think I thought that might be the case. Well, that much that we haven't seen or reviewed already. And so, Shaun, you went all the way to Thailand, and tell us what you managed to see already.
Okay, well, I managed to see Wakanda Forever last night. Actually, it was quite a late showing, and I saw it in IMAX 4DX with the with the seats and the smells and the things that blow on you and your seats that suddenly go. So yeah. So that was quite interesting because I've never really been to a 4DX, but I've been to some of the ones like at theme parks and stuff, but not an actual cinema, an actual sort of Hollywood movie type thing. So yeah, it was quite interesting, and I saw these things like hot dogs, but they weren't particularly tasty. It was like I thought, well, I'll have a hot dog, but I didn't enjoy it. I didn't enjoy the.
What do you know? What was it actually meat, or was it something like
I think it was definitely meat, but it had like lemony type, or what I can describe as like a lemony, strong, really weird lemony taste to it. So it was meat, but I think with some of the spices and things that they put in it, it was it tasted rather. I was expecting a Frankfurter, and it did look similar to a Frankfurter, but once I had bitten into it, I thought.
What tasted too savory, too savory.
It tasted too spicy.
Okay, so what happens is that I think Wakanda Forever is out today in the UK. So none of us have actually had a chance to see it, and we will see it. Okay, I'll get you your own headphones. All right, I'll get you your own headphones. Yeah, none of us have a chance to see it, but we'll see it and review it next week. I think that
sounds good. Yeah. I mean, I think it'd be nicer that way anyway, because it'd be nice to get everyone's ideas on it, because I've got quite a lot to say on it, and I do not want to be spoilerific. So, which is so tempting to be.
I know. I can totally understand that, because there's worries I have, which may or may not. I'm keen to see if my worries actually play out. I'm keen to see my worries play out. All right, cool. But what have we seen at home? Let's kick off with you, Sharon. What have you seen at home this week?
I've seen a Netflix limited series called Keep Breathing.
All right. Ooh, that's intriguing title. I've never heard of it. How about you, Holly?
I've seen on Sky The Royal Mob.
The Royal Mob, and I have seen Bad Sisters on Apple TV Plus. So so if you've been listening to this show for a while, or you might know this might be your first time, but we found out that you could get Apple TV Plus for 5 months free if you were a Barclaycard customer, which was something that Sharon and I both took advantage of. Sharon and I both went and got we got Apple TV Plus, and Sharon, your 5 months is just up, isn't it?
Yes, I think I've got 2 or 3 days left max. But I had the notification saying they're going to take the first subscription money out on the 15th. And I was like, right, cancel that.
You're like, bye. Bye. Yeah, so I think mine's coming up or has already finished. I've somehow got another 3 months free because I recently bought an iPad. So they give me another 3, and they're like, cool, have another 3 months. I'm like, okay, cool. So I think I'm just going to, my wife and I have this joke because we had a year's free of Apple TV Plus a couple of years back. And we essentially have this joke that we're just going to keep going around and finding all the free things and never pay for Apple TV Plus for like 3 years and just keep watching it. But yeah, Bad Sisters on Apple TV Plus is something that I actually think that you would like. So if you wanted to start watching a couple of episodes before, because I think you have about 5 days. It comes out on the 15th.
Mine is the 15th. It runs out. So I've got about 4 or 5 days. Yeah.
Yeah. You could do that. 2 episodes a night. Yeah, you could do that. Easy. All right, cool. Well, let us kick off. Okay, I'm gonna go try and deal with somebody, and I'll tell you what, Holly, kick us off and tell us about the Royal Mob.
Okie dokie. So, the Royal Mob is I think docudrama is probably the right word, and it is about predominantly Queen Victoria's granddaughters, or told from their perspective. So, one of Victoria's daughters, Alice, married into the House of Hesse and had 4 daughters and 2 sons, one of whom died very young. And this is a series looking at sort of the politics in Europe, but really just from the focus of the royal families, and the German royal families, the British royal families, and the Russian royal families. And it's told by Victoria's granddaughter, Victoria, who is Alice's eldest child. And it looks at, in particular, her marriage and those of her sisters. So one of her sisters married the younger brother of Kaiser Wilhelm. One of them married the uncle of the last Tsar of Russia. And one of them was Alex, who was the last Tsarina of Russia. And she herself married a Prussian, if memory serves me correctly. And it looks across their relationships with their spouses, the relationships with Queen Victoria and the wider family, the relationships between was it Albert? Not Albert, rather. Um, Edward, who was Edward VII, and Kaiser Wilhelm, the difficult dynamics of the relationships, and seeing how it all the personalities brought everything together to the First World War and the Russian Revolution. It's over.
May I ask a question? Because
episodes, I think it was. It could have been 5, or could have been 6. I really lost track because it was good viewing.
may I ask a question? A quick question. So, well, what you just said there, it sounds like The Crown goes to Europe.
A little like The Crown goes to Europe, except done in as more of a documentary, because there are interviews with historians who provide additional context. But it does have a fairly strong element of The Crown goes to Europe, but with greater historical accuracy. Well, likely greater historical accuracy. It's beautifully shot, well cast, interesting. It was worth the time watching it. I think you'd find it interesting, Sharon.
I've seen it. I think a thumbnail for it, and I thought, I wonder what that's about, because obviously I'm aware of nearly all of that generation, because just down the road from us here on the Isle of Wight is Osborne House,
of course,
where Queen Victoria was her summer residence. She lived there for many years in her widowhood, and there's some forts in the garden where, there's a Swiss cottage, which is the house that was built just for the children, and they have got these forts where they used to play war games, all the children together. And we know that Kaiser Wilhelm was there. We know that various sort of Russian, German, and various grandchildren played in the grounds of Osborne House, as almost like a precursor to the First World War, where they would have these little. But yeah, they've got this like little mini bit of trench warfare area in the grounds.
Oh wow!
It's amazing actually when you think about it, that they were all related. Really, they were all the powers of Europe. They were all just one big family, really.
And they all they all knocked about on the Isle of Wight.
They did, yeah. And they all knocked about on the Isle of Wight, yeah. They did.
Yeah.
Sharon, I think you might just have inadvertently blamed the First World War on the Isle of Wight.
Possible.
As a possibility.
We have got a history of doing all sorts of strange things over here.
All right. Okay, so 2 things are happening so far. Sharon is giving a travelogue about the Isle of Wight, which I am totally here for. I actually think that doing a podcast about things you can see on the Isle of Wight, and I can totally, number 1, recommend Osborne House, and number 2, this seems to be like a let's recommend things to Sharon Day. Like, I just went, Sharon, I think you might like Bad Sisters on Apple TV Plus. And Holly's like, Sharon, I think you find the Royal Mob to be so with that. So okay, it sounds like you enjoyed the Royal Mob.
I really did. Beautifully shot, very interesting. Range of academics, I didn't know any of them, so I can't comment on their professional pedigrees, but they were interesting. They were from a range of countries as well, which gave it a sort of different feel too. It's not a period of history I know in a great deal of detail. So some, much of it, but not some of the nuances, because who can keep track of the number of grandchildren Queen Victoria had?
So many.
But I really enjoyed it, and I think I'd probably give it a 4.
All right. So that's a 4 for the Royal Mob. All right. Just before we move on, what was the most surprising thing that you learned watching this, that you went, ooh, that's surprising?
Oh, that's a good. I don't think I'd known about the real antipathy between Edward VII and Kaiser Wilhelm. There was a particular bit where I think it must have been, it was where there was a deliberate slight to Kaiser Wilhelm, that he was made to sort of walk behind a dog in a procession that was done by Edward VII in his sort of funeral directions, dictated as a specific slight to him. And they were really, really petty towards each other, and that genuinely contributed significantly towards the First World War, was these petty arguments between two adults who, you know, like being offensive to each other.
Oh, it's nice to know that we've moved on in the world, and pettiness between world leaders will not lead to a conflict anywhere in Europe nowadays.
No, not problematic in the least.
All right, cool. No, that's good stuff. And it does sound a bit like, it sounds a bit like, a warm up and a moose bouche, if you will, in my head anyway. For the who is that on your mug for the crown?
No, it's Chris Whitty.
Chris Whitty.
Next slide, please.
What the goodness gracious are you doing with Chris Whitty on a mug?
Next slide, please, on the bottom.
Oh right. Oh okay.
Because for a second there, I thought it was Prince Albert of Monaco. He has the same hairstyle.
Yeah.
Oh, he does, doesn't he?
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's not Prince Albert of Monaco.
I was kind of like, oh wow, I didn't realize you're that much of a royalist. But anyway. Okay, yes, I will help you in a second.
Exactly.
But first of all, we're going to listen to Auntie Sharon. And Auntie Sharon is going to tell us about the show that I've never heard of and whose title I've already forgotten about. Sharon, please take it away.
It's called Keep Breathing. It's a 6-part limited series. I think it's only like a one series drama. It's about a young woman who is a corporate lawyer in New York City who's had a quite traumatic childhood. And her father has recently died. And in his possession, she found a series of postcards that her mother, who had abandoned her at a very young age, had sent over the years. And the last one that came from her mother was in a place in sort of a very remote sort of Canada, sort of like Canadian rainforest area type of Canada. And so she decides that she can't really move on with her life until she's actually found out a bit more about where her mum is now. So she decides she's going to head off to middle of nowhere Canada. And when we first meet her, she's in this very tiny little airport trying to get, and she finds that her flight has been cancelled. And because she is a almost like stereotypical New York lawyer, she's very focused. And she says, I'll pay anything if you can take me to this airport. And they say no. So then she happens to see that there are two men with a small sort of Cessna airplane who are flying in their direction. And she says, well, I'll pay you wadges of cash if you'll take me where I want to go. And they say, okay. And so the three of them then set off flying into this sort of remotest, darkest, deepest Canada. And something goes horribly wrong and the plane crashes.
Oh.
And the next 5 episodes are basically you see her trying to survive, drawing on her knowledge from when she was a Girl Scout many years ago, or as a brownie, as we would call it over here, and trying to sort of reconcile herself. Each episode, she almost like that she faces the challenges of survival, but then she also faces the challenges where she's trying to work through her previous trauma in her life. So you see, as the episodes go by, dealing with her mother and her mother's departure, and then her father's sort of death, basically, and then her work, her life at work, her life with her partner. All these things, basically, as she's trying to work out how to survive, she's processing all this past trauma. And so it's not just a physical journey where she tries to make her way across this unforgiving forest, but it's a sort of emotional journey as well, where she sort of tries to reconcile herself to the past. And so you see her going through all sorts of hideous ordeals, basically, over the course of these episodes.
A bit like Man Hancock in the jungle.
Yes.
A bit like Man Hancock and I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. But
I don't watch I'm a Celebrity, so those references are a bit lost on me, I'm afraid.
Okay. Sorry, Holly. You're gonna.
I was going to say, I think that's probably wise.
Yes.
I'm probably in that small minority of people who've never seen an episode of it.
I haven't either.
Oh, good. We are
What's this?
kindred spirits.
Sorry, what was that? We were talking about Lost or something?
No,
I've never seen I'm a Celebrity.
Oh, I'm a Celebrity. Oh no, I haven't seen I'm a Celebrity. But and I haven't even seen Lost. I mean, that Lost thing, I watched one episode and I've never seen another since, and yet people tell me it's absolutely brilliant.
Well, Yeah, I've spoken about. Okay, we'll get back to talking about keep breathing in a second.
Oh yeah,
But
sorry.
yeah, but then is yeah, but I think we might have mentioned our lost experiences on the show, and I remember Shaun, I was a bit like you. I think I watched 3 episodes of Lost, and I was like, wait a second, this is an American show. No, I was like, first of all, I was like, this is an American show, and all they care about in America is keeping this show going as long as possible. And I watched Lost, and I was like, this show relies on you not knowing what's going on and wondering what's happening next. Then I was put those two things together and went, they're never going to tell you what's actually going on. They're just going to string you along. And I watched 3 episodes and stopped watching. And I said, I'm only going to watch Lost after it's definitely over and see what. But the way people have reacted to the ending of Lost has made me think, forget it, I'm not watching that show. because
I did
because
persevere and watch all of it.
my brother feels like he wasted 5 years of his life watching that show.
Yeah, I think they didn't seem to know how it was going to end when they started writing it.
No,
it's
they
when
did
they had
not.
that feeling that they just were making it up as they went along, which is not good storytelling.
They have admitted that that's what they were doing, because I was right that because it's American, all they cared about was keeping it on the air, and so they just kept doing stuff to keep it on the air, and they just kept getting renewed, but they didn't really actually have a plan. And so that's why I just thought no. Okay, but anyway, keep breathing, because when you started describing this, I was like, oh, this sounds like a template, New York woman, usually lawyer, ends up in some wilderness place and finds love, like Men in Trees or Virgin River, or there was some show that you were watching. That was it. Virgin River that has pretty much.
I saw Virgin River, where she flees the big city to go to small town life, and she finds the equivalent of like a lumberjack, but he was not. But you get the feeling, that he's like a bit more earthy and.
He's an outdoorsy. He's an outdoorsy type.
But this is nothing like that. This is literally about one woman's survival, psychologically and physically.
So I was already preparing all my eye rolls. I was preparing my eye rolls. I was preparing all my cliches, and then you said the plane crashes, and I was like, what? Okay, it's like you have my attention.
Yeah,
it's
not a spoiler to say that she's the only survivor.
Oh,
and as she survived, when she then finds out stuff about the two people who were on the plane with her. And so it's about. But I enjoyed it. I thought it was okay. I mean, I don't think it's as good as they think it is with all the psychological stuff. Because part of me was getting a bit like, really, I'm not really that in. She wasn't that nice a character for me to be that interested in her backstory. But I was interested into how they were going to navigate it, because part of the thing about learning to survive is we know that the human bodies are quite fragile, that you do need to feed them. You need to fuel and you need water, and that you can probably, and it all depends on how many sort of your natural stores. So because she was a very slim, petite woman, you see her only eating probably like sort of 200 or 300 calories a day for like a couple of weeks almost. So I'm thinking, could someone who's very petite start off with, who doesn't seem to have an ounce of fat on her, you're thinking, how long would it be before you become too weak that you could not function? And she seemed to be surviving on berries and water. And I'm thinking, really, how could you do what she was doing? Because I was thinking, how quickly would you get quite weak, so weak that you could not physically survive?
You see now, Sharon, these are special wilderness berries. These weren't your Sainsbury's berries.
No. So part of me was thinking, I was watching it, and when she was at one point she was marking off the days, and I was trying to work out how many calories she'd eaten by that point, thinking this is like 4 days, and I would estimate that you've probably only eaten about 400 or 500 calories in total. I'm thinking, how weak would you be at that point that you'd start to be hallucinating, or you'd start having issues. So when then they start doing these sort of quite physical feats, I'm thinking, I don't know that you'd be up to doing that, even in that. I think in that short bit of time, I think in 3 or 4 days, if you were only drinking a small amount and you're only eating minimal amounts, I think you'd probably get very weak and very disorientated quite quickly.
I think this is Sharon. This is your version of Shaun crossing his legs and huffing and puffing and going, hang on a second, this doesn't make any sense. Wait, what do you? What? You're all supposed to be assassins. Why do you all stand in the middle of the road pointing outward so Batman can just come in and kick you all?
So there were elements of that in it. I was thinking, could you really do that? Part of me was thinking, okay, but I don't think when this sort of drama, if it's about survival, I don't think you should have to suspend disbelief that much.
Yeah.
I think there should be some other things. Anyway, so I thought it was okay. I enjoyed it. I got a bit tired of her, and I got a bit tired of some of the side, when they sort of veer off into her memories, or they veer off into her. You're not quite sure what's real and what she's imagining and what's actually there. So part of me was got a bit tired of that. So, but it was okay, but I think it was no more than a 3. I mean, I didn't sort of dislike it enough to make it a 2, but I would not certainly go any higher than a straightforward 3.
Is there a similar film with Daniel Radcliffe that I've seen or something where he's like a survivor in the jungle?
There are, yes, there are a couple of these. Let's throw someone into these ghastly circumstances and see what they do.
Yeah, there is a film with Daniel Radcliffe, literally called Jungle.
Right. Okay. I knew I'd seen it. I think we probably reviewed it. I expect, but years ago.
I don't think we did. I think he's supposed to be like an Israeli agent or something like that in that film.
I don't think we have reviewed it. No.
Okay. I might rewatch it then.
I just started thinking Lost City for Daniel Radcliffe and Jungle. I'm like, that's
Sandra Bullock.
Oh no! Wait, when Shaun said Daniel Radcliffe, my first thought was Swiss Army Man, where he plays a farting corpse.
Oh.
Which is a film I still haven't seen. I really want to see Swiss Army Man. I still haven't seen it.
I still haven't seen it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, cool. And right on cue, once it's going to be my turn to review something, somebody wants to have a meltdown. Okay, Kemi, what's up? What do you need? Are you okay? Oh, you want to come back up? All right. Hang on a second. Bear with me. So that's 3 stars for keep breathing. You want cake? What do you mean you want cake?
Hey, who doesn't?
Absolutely.
So, where did you see
She's
cake?
learning early. That's the life to most of problems. Feeling down, try cake.
Okay, right now it's my turn. I'm gonna try and talk about Bad Sisters on Apple TV Plus. If you can hear me over somebody, if you can hear me over somebody singing "Mummy Finger." Mummy finger, where are you? You just brought it up. Yeah. Okay, for everybody else, you're probably thinking that this. You can see this if you're listening to this. But Shaun, Sharon, and Holly are being treated to quite a slapstick movie right now. Oh my God, it's like a Mr. Bean sketch. A guy tries to record a podcast and then his kid comes in. Right, and hang on a second, Kemi.
And you've gone again. It's like baby wrestling is a Olympic sport. I think it's probably going to be in the next Olympics. Baby wrestling as a challenge.
But I think I'm in training for that. You should see me try and change a nappy. It's like wriggling and everything like that. The only thing that's missing is like her covering her. Change your nappy. Yes, we'll do that in a second. Is her covering herself in some sort of lubricant so I can't actually grab a hold of her. That's about the only thing that's missing. All right, so let's quickly talk about Bad Sisters before this gets totally untenable. So Bad Sisters is a show from Sharon Horgan and it's on Apple TV Plus. It's set in Ireland and it is set around 5 sisters called the Garvey sisters. And they are really, really close. Their parents died in a car crash when they were younger. And so love you too. So the oldest sister, Eva, has essentially raised all the rest of them. Okay. Can we go? Oh, she's going to herself. She just walked off herself. She's had enough. Her job here is... All right, cool. So... the eldest sister, played by Sharon Horgan, she wrote it and she's actually in it as well. Is called Eva, and she more or less raised the rest of her sisters herself. So she's the matriarch of the family. She lives in the family home, but you get to find out about all these different sisters. But the main push of it is that one of them, Grace, played by Anne-Marie Duff, is married to the worst person in the world. And when I say the worst person in the world, I mean like this character. He's called J.P. John Paul Williams. He's played by Claes Bang, who is a Danish actor, and I feel like the character description for this, they literally wrote the worst person in the world. Every single scene this guy is in makes your skin crawl. Everything that he does makes you go, oh my God, why? How could somebody be like that? I don't think I've ever seen a character on TV that has been written to deliberately be more hateful than this guy.
He was a hypnotic Dracula in a drama a couple of years ago, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. He played Dracula in the Stephen Moffat's Dracula.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Clash Bang. He's really, really good, and he does. Oh, I mean, I'm not sure whether it's smarm or whether it's, but he is just hateful. He is absolutely hateful in this, and so there's all sorts of stuff. Like if you think about everything when you talk about toxic relationships, this guy is like a walking poster for toxic relationship, for toxic masculinity. And the way he treats his wife, the way he puts her down, the way he does it with this, and the sisters are like, we're losing her. We're losing her. She used to be fun-loving. She used to actually have dreams, but she's not just a housewife who stays in the house. Even her own daughter goes, you don't do anything. You just sit here. You let him walk all over you. What are you for? That kind of and so what comes about is that the sisters, little by little, because there's Eva, there's BB, there's Ursula, there's Becca and Grace, and little by little it comes to the point where each one of them comes to the point that we need to get rid of this guy, and the show becomes these the four sisters scheming as to how they're going to save their sister from this man, and they decide that the only way that they're going to be able to do it is to kill the guy, and it becomes about them trying to kill this guy, and then it goes a little bit Fish Called Wanda. Now, if you guys remember Fish Called Wanda, yeah, if you remember Fish Called Wanda, that Michael Palin plays a character in it who is trying to kill an old lady who has a whole bunch of dogs. And do you guys remember this?
Yeah.
Oh no, okay. Shaun doesn't remember Fish Called Wanda.
No.
Yeah. He. But
I do. Yeah. Of course I do. So yeah, go on then. Yeah.
Yeah. So
John Cleese and Michael Palin.
Yeah.
John Cleese, Michael Palin, Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah, I do now. Yeah.
Kevin Kline. And so Michael Palin plays a character who's trying to kill this old woman who has a whole bunch of dogs, and then the woman proves particularly resilient to being killed. And there's a similar kind of thing that runs through this in Bad Sisters, where they keep trying to, like, they try and kill this guy, and then a lot of this is all about how inept they are at killing somebody. So it's kind of one of these things that it's a drama, but there's actually quite a bit of comedy in it. There's bits where you're kind of like, are you supposed to laugh at that? Because it's kind of funny, but at the same time, that's quite dark. And it's no surprise, because right at the beginning of the show, they show you the fact that the show starts off at a funeral. The show starts off at a funeral, then they have this sort of flashback thing, flash forward thing, where in the flashback you find out exactly what this guy, JP, has done to this family to make them hate him so much, because it's not just the one he's married to. He seems to have it in for all of her sisters, and each one of them has a reason to hate him. He's oh my god, he is so hateful. I cannot tell you. My wife watched this over my shoulder. She's probably watched about half an hour of this show in total, and in that half hour she's gone, oh my god, that guy's horrible, because every single scene he's in, it's just. But anyway, and so they go back and they try and show you, but at the same time, in the present day, there's these two brothers who had the insurance policy, who are trying everything within their power for their own reasons to not pay out the insurance policy. So they're trying to figure out everything, trying to say, they're like, let's just find if there's any foul play, if there's any element of foul play in this, if there's any element of foul play in the way he died, so that we don't have to pay him out. And so it becomes this sort of cat and mouse thing between the brothers and the sisters. It becomes this whole sort of almost like a whodunit, where you're trying to figure out exactly what happened, and the sisters themselves are trying to figure out what happened because they don't really know. And it's just really, really well written. It's quite funny. It's got one of the most, because with everything I've just explained about this character JP, I would imagine that this is a character that would have been a caricature. It would have been a caricature, and you would have gone, oh, for goodness sake, that is too much, that is too far, come on, let up, it cannot be that, nobody can be this bad. But they managed to make him really, really believable. They managed to make him really believable, especially when they show some wrinkles to his character that don't excuse him, but somewhat show you more about who he is. Show you more about who he is and more about what's actually going on in his head, which is quite cool. But I thought it was brilliant. I thought it was a really, really good show. I think it's a little bit too long, because I feel like there's a couple of episodes where you're like, come on, just get to the end already. And I think they stay long enough that I eventually figured out like what happened. Like I eventually figured out what happened. I was like, oh yeah, I see what happened here. I see. Oh yeah, okay, go. Oh yeah, oh Chekhov's gone. All right, and all that. And I figured out what happened. So by the time the final episode came around, I was like, yeah, that's what I thought happened. But it's, I think it's a good show, and I would give it a 4 out of 5.
Ooh.
Yeah. So I think, Shaun, if you still have access to your Apple TV Plus thing out in Thailand, it might be it might be something worth watching. And,
Okay.
And Sharon, you have 5 days. Go! You have 5 days to watch your namesake and see her act and the thing that she's written as well, the show that she's created. And yeah, I think I really, really like Sharon Horgan. There was a time when I thought she was just a writer, but as time went on, I actually thought, no, she's actually a brilliant actress, and not just a comedic one. She's just a brilliant actress. There's a TV show called Criminal, the one that's all set around interrogations in this one room. It's on Netflix as well. And the Sharon Horgan episode of that was when I thought, wow, this woman can do a lot more than I've given her credit for. So yeah, there. Holly, I can see you that you're furiously Googling something. I can see the reflection in your glasses. What are you?
I was looking up the film, the series rather.
Yeah, Holly. I think that
I need to watch it.
Holly, this is going to be so right up your street. I mean, I can already see you sitting down there with Max and is it Tilly?
Callie,
yeah. I can see you with Max and Callie, sort of running all of you, shoving their tails in your faces. You have a big, massive glass of wine, and you are just loving this over a weekend. I can 100% see you sitting down watching this. So, all right. But with that, Shaun, is there anything that you've watched that you want to talk about? Or
yeah, I'm sure I've seen a few. I've watched a few things. I've been watching a bit of sport. I've been watching the T20 cricket, and so that's
you're in the right time zone for that now, aren't you?
Yeah, similar time zone. So yeah, a little bit different, but yeah. So and that's been quite good. England had a good win today. So yeah, so that's been on live. So there's a bit of I watched quite a lot of sport, and I've been around someone's house and they like to watch. I haven't seen the whole series. I don't know things like I don't know CIA Miami or something like that.
CSI,
or like no, there was one which was really awful. We watched a couple of episodes and I was there and I thought I'm not really going to like this. I think it was called. It might be a TV series called Jack Reacher or something along them lines. I don't know if there is a TV. Reacher,
there is one called Reacher, yeah.
Yeah.
So I watched
we reviewed Reacher, yeah.
Oh, did you? Oh, right, okay then.
Yeah, I saw it on Amazon.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, yeah. That's a TV series. Yeah, that's the TV. series.
Yeah. The TV series, not the films with Tom Cruise.
So, yeah, with a good looking guy. So, what else? I'm sure I've seen Toes. I'm sure I've seen something. I must have watched something.
No. Don't worry about it, Shaun. You are on holiday. You are allowed, and even the fact that you went and saw Wakanda Forever before any of us could actually see it. I actually do not think that it is available to watch in the UK yet. I think it's available tonight.
Yeah, it is. I'm sure it's tonight.
I tell you what's really strange as well. That's the first time that because they played the national anthem in the Thai cinemas.
Yes, and you have to stand up. You have to stand up for the king.
There was only must have been. Probably about 8 other people in there, and none of them stood up, and they were Thai people, and none of them stood up. So
Shaun,
I don't know.
Get out of the country. That sounds like a revolt coming.
It does. Yeah, I better go.
That sounds like a revolt that you're going to get caught up in the middle of.
I know.
Come back to us quick.
Yeah, they were youngsters as well, but.
Yeah, that's even.
Okay, I know.
Okay, Shaun. You have 100% got me worried now.
Yeah, maybe I should have kept my mouth shut on that.
You have 100% got me worried for the future of Thailand if that's happening.
Listening.
If there's a whole bunch of people not standing up because I've experienced that and I've been told to stand up and I was like, well, okay, yeah. And if a whole bunch of young people are not, that sounds like a revolt. That sounds like a revolt is coming. So watch the news. Watch the news and just keep your passport on you at all times and always know where the British consulate is.
yeah, Red Square and all that. No, that's for sure. But what I was going to say is, you'll get to see Wakanda Forever though, because it's got to be released soon, isn't it? Over there?
Oh no, it's released tonight.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, it's released. It's released Thursday night, so that's
going to be. That's going to be interesting. That's going to be really good. So.
I think Wakanda Forever is going to be so interesting because obviously the big thing that they have to deal with is the fact that Chadwick Boseman died. The big thing they have to is that Chadwick Boseman died, and that's why this could be. I mean, we reviewed Black Adam last week, and I thought Black Adam was like a kind of film that, or what we were speaking about, we're saying that there were some times where they were trying to deal with sort of like weightier issues, a bit like the way Black Panther, the first Black Panther film, dealt with weightier issues in the context of a superhero movie, and that's something that Marvel are actually really, really good at. The Captain America films, I mean, the Winter Soldier, the Civil War, they dealt with weighty issues within the confines of, and they did that quite well. And I feel like in Wakanda Forever, you could either have, it could be amazing the way that they deal with the death of Chadwick Boseman and the way that they make the whole film a tribute to, it could be amazing, but it could also not work. It could also not work.
Complete downer.
Yeah, it could also, and it could be that how they handled that transition of this is a star. It was a massive film. I don't think this film was going to be as big a hit as the first film. That's just my thing, just because of human nature and market forces and all that kind of stuff. But I'm really intrigued to see what they do with it, because the trailers have made me go, ooh, there might be something good here. But at the same time, I'm worried that if there's something good, that also means that there's also a big chance of spoiling something that could have been good. So and Shaun's just given like a very, very cryptic look on his
smile.
Enigmatic smile. Is just kind of okay, we'll see. So okay, fine. That's my homework. This weekend I'm going to watch Wakanda Forever. Then we can come back next week and have a big fight, because in which we'll come in and I will complain about Africa being represented on screen, as is my want, and none of us will agree on whether we think it's 1, 2, 3, or 4, or 5 stars. But I think if that is everything that we're going to talk about today, I believe that that all that is left to say is hello to all of our PWC fans, and and it's a goodbye from me,
and it's a goodbye from me,
and a goodbye from me,
a goodbye from me.
Thank you very much for joining us. We promise to see something in the cinema next week. Bye.